Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. We're very excited at One Screen to be having Mary from Vengo Labs be able to give us a wonderful presentation. As people start to come in and find their seats, we're just going to wait a couple of minutes just until everybody can join. This is going to be pretty exciting. This event is being recorded, and Alexis, our show producer, will be offering the opportunity to ask questions either in the chat pane or the Q&A pane. There's a lot of really great information here. We've reviewed it a number of times with Mary, and I personally am very excited about what's going to be happening. So can everybody hear us? Can you give us a sense of thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat or the Q&A pane just to let us know if you can hear us? I don't see anything. Do you see anything, Alexis?
I don't.
Ah, Greg,
oh,
yes.
There. Yes.
Greg said, yes, you can hear us. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. If anybody has anything that they want to make sure that we're covering today, it would be great to be able to put in the Q&A or the chat pane just to let us know something that you really want us to touch upon, something that you hope that you'll be able to learn today. That'll be exciting. We had close to 100 people register for this webinar, so we're very excited about it. I know it'll probably go out in recording to people. And even though all of us talk super fast, we've got one person from Chicago, one person from Boston, and one person from New York City. So we're all super fast talkers. So if you put us on 2X, we'll blow you out of the water. Okay. So I've got 12:01, Alexis. What do you think?
Yep, we can get started.
Okay.
Welcome to all the places you'll go with digital out of home. I'll pass it over to you, Jean, for the introduction.
Yes, this is pretty funny, actually. So I wrote a blog post for the onescreen.ai blog a few months ago, and it talked about Times Square, and I used the words place-based advertising. And Mary kicked back to me and she said, nah, you don't really have that right. You need to fix that. You need to make something better on and say it better. And I'm like, okay, that's good. Now, what should I say, Mary? And so she had a number of thoughts, and I said, you know what? This is such good information that I feel that we need to share it with a lot more people. And so she agreed to do this webinar with us in July. Now, she taught me something, and I believe that she's going to teach all of you something, and that's why we have her here. And if you have questions, put them in the Q&A pane, and we will make sure that we get to them, and we'll try to answer. Alexis and I have the ability to answer. Mary is presenting, so we're going to give her the wonderful chance to be able to do this. Welcome, Mary, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Alexis. I'm really excited about this. And yeah, so I wanted to first put up a poll and see who we have on the line. So please give us an idea of, where you're coming from so that I can make sure I hit the high points for you. So I guess, Alexis, you'll let us know when this is,
Yep.
do I vote too?
All right, it looks like we have most results in, so I'm ending it and sharing the results.
There you go, webinar groupies. I love it. My people. These are, you always find a nugget of something good in everything. So I hope to not disappoint in that area. Great, so let's get started. So I've been with Vengo for 3 years, and I lead all sales and marketing, social media and research. And I have an extensive background at out of home, and prior to that had a career in print advertising as well. So Vengo has been in business for 10 years, and we started by building out a network of 1,600 digital out-of-home screens that were attached to vending kiosks in gyms and colleges and hotels and offices. And during COVID, when all of those venues were closed, we started to look for new opportunities like everyone did. And we were able to build out a network of screen-only digital out-of-home screens in grocery stores and in residential. Alexis, can we move to the next slide? The other thing we realized during COVID is that we had built out our own software tech stack, and we're integrated with all of the digital at-home programmatic SSPs. And so we've always been programmatic since the very beginning, being early on to the Vistar and Place Exchange platforms. So we found that we could provide a kind of holistic turnkey solution for connecting other media owners to the programmatic platforms. And so we are currently software partners with Cheddar U screens on college campuses, 20,000 AMI screens, bars in 20,000 bars in every state in the country, which is really exciting. And we have a brand new partner in hospitals with hospital facing screens that not only are seen by visitors and patients, but also the hard to reach healthcare professionals. So when I saw Jean's article about place-based media and Times Square, really, I realized that we needed some clearer definitions on these words. And so all of out of home is place-based. We can go to the next one. Everything we love about out of home is based on a sense of place. And you're outside the home in the real world. We know where you're located. These are all really important things that make out of home so powerful. So next slide. And being out of home is so memorable. You know, nothing compares to being live. You know, like seeing Paul McCartney and having Bruce Springsteen come out. A moment in my life I'll never forget. But nothing compares to seeing something on a screen as opposed to being there in the same space with it live. And so location is what, again, is, you know, out of home superpower. And you're able to reach the right audience, the right time, in a meaningful context and a receptive mindset. So what's the difference between in-venue and more traditional out-of-home? If everything is place-based, all out-of-home is place-based, then what makes a difference between these two different types of venues? So in traditional out-of-home, you're reaching people on the way to a destination. They're in motion in big public areas. They're seeing screens large screens at a distance, and they're having a variety of experiences while they're viewing these screens together. But in-venue out-of-home is somewhat different. These venues are actually the destination that people are heading to. They're spending significant dwell time in these venues. The venues are privately owned and controlled environments, and people are having a similar contextual experience. They visit these places frequently, and they're in close proximity to the screen. So they have walkability. You're able to use QR codes really effectively because they are so accessible, and everything else about being close up. And context matters. There's more than one study that shows that the context of seeing the ad makes a difference on the impact. And in this case, the OAAA recent Harris Poll out-of-home trends study showed 45% of consumers found contextual out-of-home advertising to be of greater interest. So I'll get a little psychological, a little touchy-feely here, but the key to happiness is human connection, and that's what in-venue advertising really gets to the heart of. Not only are the consumers in those venues connected to the venue, they have a formal relationship and connection. Either they are members of the gym, they're enrolled students, they're employees of that office, they live in that building. These are, you know, connections that they are, you know, closely related to the venue, or they're in a venue together with a shared intention. So whether they're in a bar or a restaurant or a movie theater, or they're shopping in a grocery store or a mall, they're sharing a similar intention. So people are making social connections within these venues, again, because of the shared mission and a common intention. So in-venue digital out-of-home is the connection media. These audiences in these venues, they're in their club, they're with their tribe. They have a strong sense of belonging and a shared mission and intention. This is, you know, really powerful emotional environment. And consumers are really friendly and open to screens in venues. They've come to expect them almost. In a recent Sightline digital out-of-home difference report, there was some great quotes. Consumers don't just welcome digital out-of-home into their environments, they often find it innovative and informative. They like, they trust, and they engage with digital out-of-home and find it enhances the surroundings. So these are really powerful statements. So what does this mean for advertisers? So when we talk about an impression, we're also talking about, it's not just a number on a page or a multiplier, but an impression is a reaction, an emotion. It's formed without somebody thinking about where it's coming from. It creates an instant and lasting connection in your mind. I mean, think about the moment you first heard your favorite song or your favorite memory that you associate with a song. There's a song that every time I hear it, the first couple of notes, I'm back on Lombard Street in San Francisco. And that will never, that'll never go away. It's unerasable. So this connectedness forges a lasting impression. You're connecting with consumers in it's a concentrated audience of like-minded consumers. You're amplifying your message because of this shared environment. This is where in-venue media really shines. And we've all seen the results of measurable actions and results from digital out-of-home in-venue campaigns. So OAAA reporting 50% of recent out-of-home viewers made a physical purchase following an ad exposure. They're downloading the app, they're going to the advertiser's website, they're searching for more information. And from the DPAA, 50% of out-of-home viewers say digital out-of-home encouraged them to make a purchase right then and there. This is powerful stuff. So using in-venue digital out-of-home is a powerful tool to add to a media mix. If you have a product that's specifically connected to a mindset of a particular venue, then a standalone solution in that venue could make perfect sense. But it's also a powerful part of a media mix in reaching consumers on their daily journey and on their path to purchase. There are screens in so many different kinds of venues that, based on research, you can find your target audience throughout their day and reach them continuously, building frequency, which builds trust and awareness and eventually drives action. So just a couple of quick case study examples. First was a program that was done with OneScreen and Accretive Media, driving NBA ticket sales. An NBA franchise wanted to use a combination of out-of-home media to drive ticket sales and measure the results. And the greatest impact of ticket sales came from a combination of traditional billboards and digital out-of-home screens that were in sports bars, and compared that to the actual game attendance to the control group. So the final result was 143% lift in actual game day attendance. So this was really incredible. And another campaign that ran for DoorDash for Work ran a hyper-targeted out-of-home campaign using a strategic mix of digital ads in office elevators, as well as the Vengo kiosk screens in offices, that's shown in the picture, and other place-based formats. This media mix reached the desired audience. They wanted B2B audience with high dwell time and contextual relevance, and the result was a 32% lift in brand familiarity and 23% lift in consideration. And then programmatic is what brings all of the assets and capabilities of digital out-of-home together. So the growth in programmatic as a percentage of digital out-of-home over the last 4 years is been obvious, and it's a driving force in overall out-of-home revenue, but certainly in the digital out-of-home space, programmatic is what's we're projecting this year, eMarketer is projecting this year for programmatic digital out-of-home to hit $600 million in revenue. And if we look at this next slide, if you look at the 4 years of growth of programmatic as a portion of digital out of home, compared to the growth that online programmatic saw over a 7-year period, we are following very closely to what history shows us through the online programmatic sales. And if we follow this projection, programmatic is projected to be almost 60% of digital out of home revenue by year 7, which is going to be 2025, right around the corner. So the benefits for programmatic as part of a digital out of home strategy are immense. I mean, there's so many different levers and capabilities that you can access in planning a media program using digital out of home through programmatic channels. You've got real-time optimization opportunities, bringing all your data to bear in database targeting, and contextual creative and dynamic creative, which changes with different triggers. So really exciting stuff on the horizon that continues to grow for advertisers. And for media owners, the factors that are really critical to thinking about a programmatic strategy as a holistic piece. You want to look for an ad server that is integrated with multiple SSPs and DSPs. Impression measurement that's transparent and accurate and accredited is critical. And careful inventory management, making sure that your inventory is properly tagged and described, locations, all of that information for buyers is absolutely critical that it's accurate. And you want to think about how to future-proof that solution so that you're ready for this wild ride that we see coming down the pike. So just a couple of conclusions. Digital out-of-home screens in venues connects you to that insider club of consumers that are highly connected and having a shared experience in these venues. We're seeing a proliferation of screens in a variety of settings. So every day there's new opportunities to research, and these opportunities give us, this is going to provide more opportunity to reach the consumer during their daily journey and really target the consumer that you want to reach. And in venue screens, we're seeing coming from a couple of different sources, right? The installation of new screen technology, as well as the conversion of existing basic TV screens with basic connections to a connected digital out-of-home screen that's providing, a contextual experience for the consumer. So programmatic digital out-of-home projected growth of 56% for 2022 over last year, and it's projected to be 5% of the total out-of-home and 17% of total digital out-of-home revenue for this year. And then, as we saw, the next 3 years are going to bring on a lot more. Yeah, I do talk pretty fast, huh?
You did a great job, Mary. Thank you so much. It was lots of great information. We have a number of good questions. One of my favorite people, David English from Ad Trends, has a question for you. We have a couple other questions. Alexis is going to lob them at you, Mary. So Alexis, you want to read out the questions?
Sure. Okay, so the first question is, Mary, what's your favorite new venue?
I just find in-venue advertising to be incredibly interesting, but I'm really excited about our new partnership with AMI and the screens and the bars. These are neighborhood bars, so the connection to the community, they're hyper local, and the 21 over audience is going to allow more different categories to reach these consumers, and they're at their happiest moment of the week. So I have to pick one. That would be it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So another question we have is, like digital billboards, can these screens be set up on a network, rotating advertisements to a variety of commonly visited areas?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of not only having a basic CMS, but being connected to the programmatic platforms allows for you to have advertisers rotating on a share of voice basis. So, with running a certain number of spots per hour, spots per minute, but also to be able to sell on an impression basis. So you have the ability to control all of those buys on multiple levels in one place.
Right. And then is outside of a retail, like a brand specific, like Gap location, is that considered an in venue?
Well, I guess it depends on if you're talking about specific retailers and their screens, like in a Gap store, if they're allowing outside advertising, then it would be. But depending on how the retailer is applying the use of those screens, I guess would depend on whether or not it's really kind of open to advertising versus, driving, working hard for them to drive sales.
Okay. And then what's your favorite place-based ad you remember seeing?
I've seen a lot of great creative, I think anything that's kind of contextually relevant, especially if the creative is designed for the venue, things like, I get really excited, and maybe I'm a geek, but I get really excited when I see like Chase Mortgage advertising in lobbies of residential buildings. I mean, it doesn't get more connected than that. Or Optimum Business running in office buildings, and Nestle water brands running in gyms. I mean, these are like truly well-connected, well-crafted campaigns and creative that are going to work really hard.
Yeah, definitely. And then it looks like our last question: how do you get advertisers to try something new, like a new place?
Research and being able to talk about the audience, because sometimes it's obvious as to what the mindset and the context is in that venue, and other times it's really about the audience demographics that you don't expect to find or are hard to reach in other places. And a good example is like in hospital screens that face healthcare professionals. These are really affluent, highly educated, very difficult to reach in other venues. Would you think about running in a hospital, or are you really thinking about targeting a specific audience, and it's really hard to reach those audiences in other places?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you could entice advertisers to try something new.
Great. All right, well, any other questions from anyone on the line right now?
Oh, everybody stuck through to the end. That was fantastic. Great job, Alexis. Thank you so much, Mary. This was wonderful information. And I consider myself schooled in what is place-based, right? It's not just Times Square. So those are the things. You had a great analogy when you were talking about Times Square. You had a thing, we were talking about it yesterday, about why Times Square is probably not the best possible venue for advertising for a general campaign. Did you want to talk about that?
Record saying that.
No.
Times Square, you can't argue with the exposure of a Times Square campaign. But it is interesting that, you've got people having multiple different experiences. So as a born and raised New Yorker, I avoid Times Square like the plague. I run through there as fast as I can. But that's me. But, you have tourists that are enjoying the environment. You have tourists running to their first Broadway show. You have locals running to Broadway shows or to dinner or to an event. So there's so many different people, and then you've got Iron Man and Superman, and there's just so much going on that, it's just not the same kind of
It's not, you talked about context. What's your context, right? The context is it's bright and shiny and it's really exciting to be able to look at, but are the people in the right place, and are the right people to be able to receive your message? That's why place-based advertising is so important, and really being able to talk to your customers in a way that prospects or customers, in a way that resonates with them.
Yeah, I mean, the context of in-venue advertising is just a great way to follow people throughout their day, and not in a creepy way. But, you know, you want to reach your target audience, you need to know what their daily patterns are,
Right.
and that's why, you know, traditional out of home and in-venue work tremendously well together, like we
Yeah.
saw in the case study.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you again, Mary. Thanks again, Alexis. And thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. This was great information, and we will be sending out the recording and the slides later. And thanks, everybody, for being here. It was great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.